Meet Will and Tom, two seemingly ordinary men, cursed with a gift of vast knowledge that is forever expanding. Possessing incredible insight with unparalleled skills and expertise. Let us join them as they embark on a journey to quench their thirst for the truth while answering the questions to life's most intriguing mysteries. Let us open our minds and ask, dude, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Imagine having to rhyme everything that you say, all the time, day to day. And here's something that might make you frown. You must still rhyme even if you write it down. If you do not rhyme what you say or write, your communication will not be heard or seen. Isn't that a fright? How would you think the world would be if such a spell was cast upon thee? Let us listen in to our two wizards of words, Will and Tom, as they give us an answer while rhyming and attempting to remain calm. Welcome back, everybody. This is Thomas Case.
This is William Stark.
Will, I think before we start today, let's give a little reminder about our giveaway.
Yeah, because we're giving away some cash money.
Boom! Cha-ching!
For those of you who may have missed it, we're giving away a cash gift card of $100. It can be spent anywhere you want to spend it, and it doesn't expire as far as I know. At least in California, these things don't expire.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
And if you want to enter to win this awesome gift card, all you got to do is share the show with somebody. Send us the proof. That can be on social media. That can be via email. That can be in person.
In person.
Yeah, film yourself.
In a helicopter.
In a helicopter. You can buy advertising space. You can do that and send us the proof. Whatever you want to do. If you spread the word for Dude You Imagine, we'll appreciate it. And we'll also add you to the list. And on July 4th, we will be announcing a winner.
I just have this like thought in my head of somebody's going to be in a bathroom stall, and then you're going to hear just like, hey, listen to Dude, could you imagine? And then flush, and then they walk out.
I was thinking about somebody like pulling up their leg and revealing a Dude, could you imagine tattoo on
Oh,
their thigh.
dang. If I saw that, oh my God, I hope to see that. A Dude, could you imagine tattoo, right?
But all right, let's get to the show.
Okay.
That's too funny.
So the question for this episode is, what if we could only talk in rhymes?
Oh God.
So right now we're not going to talk in rhymes, but let me give you the parameters.
You're going to give me, we're going to be like from this point going forward.
Yeah, from this point going, and I'll tell you from this point going forward, we could only speak in rhymes, and it'll
this episode is going to be the worst rap battle of history,
and it'll make sense after I read the parameters.
All right, let's hear it.
A powerful and mischievous wizard casts a spell on our world, making it so if you do not speak in rhymes, your words will not be heard or seen. Okay. So if you try to write and you're not writing it in a way that would rhyme, nobody could see what you're writing.
Okay, what if you wrote it with the intent of a rhyme but accidentally misspelled a word?
Then you couldn't. Oh, you misspelled a word? I mean, as long as it's like
so like it was supposed to rhyme. So like as you're writing it, they can read it, right? But then the second you fuck up, it just disappears.
Okay, if you're talking about like if you're saying like let's fly the coop while I take a poop, right? If it was something stupid like that, right?
Really?
But you accidentally...
That's the rhyme you went with, Tom?
Yes, that's the rhyme I went with, okay? Let's fly the coop while I take a poop, and you accidentally wrote poop, P-O-U-P, instead of P-O-O-P, because you were thinking of coop like C-O-U-P, right?
Okay.
So if you did that, it's still understandable, and someone would probably read it in a rhyme, and then they would see it.
But what about when you're speaking? What if sometimes we stumble over our words. So what if like you intend to say something that rhymes, but when you're finishing off the rhyme, you actually trip over your tongue and say something else? Does it just like people can't unhear what they just heard?
So everything from that point forward would not be heard.
Okay, so it would be as if a word or two of yours got bleeped out.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But like if you tried to, I found the loophole to that. Let me quote unquote flub my word whenever I talk just enough to where I don't have to talk in a rhyme. No, if it's premeditated, the magic will know.
Okay. Interesting. I will say this: poets would be out of a job, and song lyricists would no longer be as praised as they currently are.
I'm sorry. Did you say something, Will? My hearing has been killed.
Are we doing this now?
Yes.
Oh, hold on.
I didn't.
Hold on. You didn't tell me. Hold on. Before
you.
you say go, is there anything else that we want to say?
I don't have anything else really I have to say other than I don't know if we could do this.
All right. Okay, real quick before we get into it.
Okay.
We have to talk about what would happen with the world.
Yes.
While talking in rhyme.
In rhyme, yes.
And you thought this was a good question.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I thought it was an interesting one to see if we could
all right,
a challenge, Will. It's a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge indeed. Okay. Whenever you say go.
Okay, go.
So the first thing that I would want to say is that people would be pretty frustrated every day.
Okay.
How would we even say people's names?
Well, you'd have to treat it like it was a game. I think that people's names would be changed. Does that kind of rhyme? In time?
I'll let it slide. It's fine. That doesn't rhyme. Ooh, but that did.
Splendid.
So William Stark, for instance, oh God, I chose a tough word there, didn't I? Rhymes with after dark. Oh God, I got nothing.
And it's difficult for me too. I won't be bluffing. I think names would change to fit within this range.
Ooh. I think you're right, and I'm not going to put up a fight. I hate this question. I'm really distressing.
Okay, you know what?
Let us be clear, I am not a rapper.
I was going to say, when you said I'm distressing, I was going to say, okay, you know what? I'm just messing. Let's just go back to not rhyming because that was way hard.
That was agonizing. I would stop talking to people, I think is what would happen.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to think this hard about trying to say the simplest of things.
Dude, I was laughing so hard there.
Dude. That killed me.
No, but yeah, you're right. I honestly feel like a lot of people, so when I used to take improv, there was an actual game that we would play, and and that's how it was. You had to rhyme everything that you said, but it wasn't just what you said.
You had to rhyme with what other people said.
So
someone could start with a line and someone could finish it with a rhyme.
Exactly, and that's the only way that you're allowed to speak. And if you weren't, you would someone would call you out, and then you would be brought out of that game for that time, right? Yeah. And I was really good at that game, but I noticed that a lot of people were not.
Were you good at that game, Tom?
I was. I mean, this was a little bit, off the cuff, but
sure.
If we had a thing where we could just make up anything that we were allowed to say, which is in improv, I was actually really good at that.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, but I noticed out of our troop of 8 to 10 people, maybe me and 2 to 3 others were really good at doing that. And the rest just could not get a line or two out because they just couldn't make a rhyme.
Rough. I can do it a few times, but after that, my brain starts to fry. I can't help but wonder, let's say this magic spell was put in our world and if you had to do this to communicate whatsoever, I wonder if I think we would. I think this is something we would do as a species, is we would come up with nonsense, not necessarily, but sentence finisher words, words that don't mean anything except for end of sentence, and we would have probably a few variations of them that generally all rhyme.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So that way people could just say whatever they wanted, and they would always add that end sentence line to make it rhyme. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
and it could be, obviously, any one syllable, nonsense thing I say is probably some word in another language. But, I don't know, shit. I'm struggling to think of shin's a word. What's a nonsense one syllable word that you could say
bloop?
Sure, bloop.
Yeah.
Bloop. And I'm not saying poop. I'm not doing it, Tom.
Well, no, you couldn't say that because it doesn't have the L in with it.
Yeah, bloop and poop rhyme. They
Bloop.
just don't. Yeah,
I mean, maybe
it's
ploop.
the suffix of it.
Oh, I see what
I'm
you're
not
saying.
going to sit here and debate you what poop rhymes with. So
Dang
bloop
it.
and gloop, right?
Yeah, bloop and gloop.
Yeah,
Okay.
bloop, well, just to use an example, so you would say like, "Hey Tom, how you doing, gloop?" And you would be like, "I'm doing okay, bloop."
Oh yeah, see, that's
Basically,
exactly what I
we'd
thought.
be living in a fucked up Dr. Seuss world.
And I feel like, you know what? Now that you mention that, that's actually really genius because I honestly feel like that would be a loophole, and this mischief wizard would probably be very angry with you.
And basically, there would be a what's the word I'm looking for? Not a custom, but like a an etiquette to it. So like basically, if you open the conversation, you say gloop, and if you respond,
and
the other
you
person
say
says bloop.
bloop.
That way, it can never get confused.
Dang, that's actually really good.
Yeah,
That's a good
I think that's
idea.
what we would do.
You solved it. Boom, problem solved. No.
I think that's what I would teach my family, and like that's what we would agree. The thing is, like, then there'd be different dialects, and like you would have to. So, well, then again, you don't have to think about it that hard. Because let's say you meet somebody who came up with, I don't know, a weird one like give me another nonsense word, Tom. Like frumph. Frumph is
okay.
That's a horrible one. But let's say you
Yes.
meet someone from the Frumph Gumph clan.
Okay.
And so, but you've never heard of that, right? So this dude says, how's it going, Grumph? And you're like, wow, shit, I don't know this
Yeah.
one, right? But you could just make one up. You'd be like, it's going okay, Bumph.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, so you wouldn't have to have too much like established custom behind it. Although I think that would inevitably that would form over the course of like decades.
Unless the spell does recognize that you're not using like an actual word, but even if it doesn't matter, your premise, the idea of this would still work because even if you used real words, but you knew these were the end filler rhyme words, it wouldn't matter.
Words would change their meaning for that. I will say there are a lot of languages that have a huge leg up on this compared to English. I would say Japanese is the one that pops out to me the most.
Oh, really?
Because there's just a lot of their words end in very similar suffixes.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
true.
I think they can stretch it in such a way.
Now that I think about it, you're
yeah.
right. A lot of them have like a that extra like an E or so, like an E sound at the end, or like a vowel.
Even the way you refer to other people, right? So like the way you refer to somebody you're speaking to, if you're calling them by name, there's usually a suffix at the end of said name, which usually denotes like the type of relationship you have with them, whether it's like Chan or San or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And like they could either co-opt those words and change them to like mean kind of more like these ending things, or just make up their own. Like, but I think that those languages are a little better equipped for this exact bizarre scenario. If a wizard comes out of the sky and makes everyone rhyme, the Japanese are gravy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I think would happen, and I think it would happen pretty quickly.
That would even negate. I was going to bring up the fact too what we were trying to talk about earlier, but in rhyme with the name thing about how like, do you think people would just start like choosing like a path of rhyming for boys and girls' names? You know what I mean? From that point forward,
That's possible. That's something I think that would, if it were to develop, it would have to develop over the course of a long period of time. Like, because eventually, like, let's say the spell never goes away. Eventually, over the course of centuries, like, it will just be the way things always were. We'll have generation upon generation of people who not only have they never known anything else, but their fathers' fathers never knew anything else. Like, so like, how much is that going to change the way language develops over time? Like, language is going to eventually change around this obstacle, like almost grow around it and be formed by it. Who knows? Maybe in 500 years, language will be literally structured in rhyme.
Oh,
so, like,
that's true.
In such a way like that, like things will easily rhyme naturally, very, very intuitively.
Yeah, you know what? That and right now I'm tingling with anticipation here because like I always love it when I can bring up Star Trek. And in Star Trek: The Next Generation, there's an episode where Picard gets transported down to a planet, and when he gets there, he meets another alien just by himself, right? And he doesn't know what to make of the alien at first, but he figures out that this alien is not this alien isn't violent towards him, right? The alien is also intelligent. He just can't understand what the alien is saying to him until finally he realizes, because everything the alien says to him, it sounds like he's starting a story, or that he's talking about a character from a certain story that obviously Picard does not know anything about. Then he realizes, oh, this guy, their whole language, this whole alien race's language is all built upon, I guess, what do you call those, like allegories? You know what I mean? Like
allegories.
Or allegories, like, you know, where they're all taught us one base story in their civilization. And now the way they talk to each other is all references from this story.
That's
right?
Really
So
interesting.
yeah, so like
bizarre.
whenever he says like I don't remember the actual lines, but it's something to the effect of like Tanakh and Granada at Bulso, and so he doesn't know what these words mean, but then he finally, oh, you're saying this person and this person at a certain location. Oh, that means you say we should team up, like we need to meet, right? So he starts to figure out this is how they talk,
right?
And yeah, you're right. I kind of figure if that did happen to us, I think in the future they would just start to structure the language to already fit.
Yeah, it would slowly morph into something that probably not understandable to someone like you or me. Like
to us, we'd be like, "What are you talking? Like what? Like what are you talking about? Like,
who is Tanakh? Who is Granada? Tell me!"
Oh my god!
But yeah, so yeah, I don't know if I got anything else to say about this one.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I am glad that you were, you know, you were a good sport at doing the rhyming.
I did my best.
I was laughing so hard that I had like tears coming out of my eyes almost. Like it was fun to try to do that, but. I am very interested. I do want to hear from our listeners and wonder what they would think if this happened in our world, but please respond to us in rhyme.
Yeah, I want all comments on this one to be in rhyme, please.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Because you know what? If I see a lot of these comments in rhyme, I'm definitely going to have to read them on the next episode.
Indeed.
But dude, could you imagine, my friend?
That
does not rhyme.
No,
we're going to redo that. But dude, could you imagine? The podcast you have just heard are the imaginings from the highly evolved minds of the extra-dimensional beings, Will and Tom. It has been translated into a format more easily understood by the human mind. Interpret it as you will. Should you find yourself seeking more answers to life's most intriguing mysteries, you can show your support by becoming a Patreon member at patreon.com/dude-could-you-imagine. You can also leave an Apple Podcast review. You can subscribe to us on Instagram at dude_could-you-imagine, on Twitter at DCYimagine, and on our YouTube channel, where you can leave a like and a comment. We can also be reached through our email, dudecouldyoumagine@gmail.com. We leave you now so that you may gather your thoughts, until we meet again, to ponder the meaning of the cosmos and ask, dude, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Okay, if you're talking about like, if you're saying like, let's fly the coop while I take a poop, right? If it was something stupid like that, right?
Really?
But you accidentally...
That's the rhyme you went with, Tom.
Yes, that's the rhyme I went with, okay? Let's fly the coop while I take a poop, and you accidentally wrote poop, P-O-U-P, instead of P-O-O-P.